time today and for your ongoing commitment for the infertility community. We will try to keep this event to 1 hour. And so if you do have questions for us, please enter them in the comment box and we'll address them at the end of the session. Also, please note you can visit our website, coloradofertilityadvocates.org, and there's further information on each speaker and their organization. So let's get it started. The first presenter is Pamela Cohen-Hirsch, who is the founder of BabyQuest.
Great. Hi. Thank you. Hello, everybody. And a special thanks to the Colorado Fertility Advocates for putting this special event together. I think it's wonderful that people get information because the more information they have about opportunities for grants and for financial help and any type of information, the better off they are. So I've pretty much divided my talk in BabyQuest into 3 sections. BabyQuest birth, first of all. Why did we start? Why did I start this? In 2011, I had witnessed my daughter, who at then was 28, go through at least 3 to 4 years of infertility treatments, 4 IVFs, all starting with pregnancy, ending with miscarriage. And this was a really dark cloud over our family. Fortunately, we were in a very financially blessed position so that my daughter and her husband now have 2 gorgeous little girls, each carried by a surrogate. And this made me realize how blessed we were and how financially difficult it is for most people, whether it be IVF or surrogacy. It actually opened up a whole new world for me because before that, I had been one of the founders of the Princeton Review Test Prep Company, which obviously had nothing to do with fertility. BabyQuest growing up. Well, the first time we gave grants was in March of 2012. We gave 2 grants, each, I think it totaled $10,000. Since then, we have grown. We have given over 150 grants. That totals over $2.2 million in awards that we've given out. We've produced over 105 babies. In fact, the 100th baby is a Colorado product in Denver, born to 2 women, same-sex couple near Denver. That was last August. We give grants that are pretty much whole grants. They're not just $500 here, $1,000 here. They range anywhere from $2,000 to $20,000. And most of the time they do include medications. As far as what we give grants for, the list is quite long. IVF, gestational surrogacy, anything including egg and sperm donation, embryo donation, IVF because of a genetic condition to omit something like cystic fibrosis. We give a special grant called Operation BabyQuest, which is a military grant to a military personnel, both present or past, male or female. We do that every time. And we always try to give a cancer grant, a grant to somebody, male or female, whose fertility has been affected or robbed because of the effects of cancer. As far as applications, we take applications from heterosexual and same-sex couples and singles. We give out grants twice a year, spring and fall. Our next grant program will be coming up soon. In fact, that's the 3rd segment of what I was going to talk about, BabyQuest in the future. Despite the fact that this has been a pretty miserable year for everybody, fundraising has not been easy in the era of COVID, as I'm sure most people know. We still gave out 13 grants this last time when we gave out grants in last September. And because of COVID, many of those people are still undergoing the transfers, but we have several pregnancies from that group and others are gearing up. The next deadline for us will be March 10th, when all the applications are due. And as far as our future, on February 2nd, we will be having a webinar, a Q&A, featuring Karen Jeffries, who's one of our board members. She's the head of, or the founder of Hilariously Infertile. And I'm not very funny, but she is. So we will not only be answering questions, but she will be entertaining as well. That's February 2nd at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And all the information to register is on our social media, both our Facebook and our Instagram. Again, I will be happy to answer any questions. I think I've spoken fast. I think I have a deadline as far as time, but I will be happy. I'll be around, and if I can answer any questions, or if you do have any questions and you want to send them to our February 2nd seminar or webinar, we are taking questions on that as well, and they can be submitted anytime. So again, thank you for inviting me to be here.
Great. Thank you so much, Pamela, and for all the good work you're doing. That was really informative, and thank you so much. So our next speaker is Kristen Young, who is the Communications Coordinator for the CADE Foundation.
Great evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for having us here. Again, my name is Kristen Young, and with the CADE Foundation, we support families overcoming infertility. So what we do with our grant, which is actually closing February 1st, we are open to all families, anyone who has a diagnosis of infertility. That is the sole requirement for applying for our grants. Anyone who is diagnosed with infertility, unable to conceive over 12 months, you are eligible to apply. Again, our application is open now. February 1st is the closing date, and then July 1st for the second date of the year. This is an amazing opportunity for us. If you are not familiar with our story, the CADE Foundation started 15 years ago because our founder, Doctors Jason and Camille Hammond, they were going through infertility themselves. They had been through infertility for over 5 years, looking for an opportunity to grow their family. And the end result was Dr. Camille Hammond's mother carrying their triplets at the age of 55. So it's an amazing, amazing, amazing story of love and perseverance and commitment and dedication, which all of our families know about. That on some level, their journey has to do with that perseverance, that commitment. And sometimes families are just looking for that extra help. They're just looking for somewhere to turn. And in the case of the Hammonds, there weren't really any opportunities. There weren't foundations like these presented today for that extra support. They had exhausted all of their funds. They were, heavily in debt and looking for an option, but they stayed committed. And as I said, from the blessing of their mom, their triplets just turned 16 about a month ago. So they immediately said, we're looking for a way to give back, and how can we support another family? How can we give back to other couples who are going through the same journey that we just went through? So that's the short story behind the CADE Foundation. As just mentioned, we have been working hard to maintain our fundraising throughout the year to make sure, we switched all of our events to virtual to make things happen. Because we want to continue to do this. We are passionate about this work and want to make sure we can reach as many families as we can. So all of our grants are up to $10,000 for IVF treatment. If you're looking for adoption, we do offer grants for that too. So if that's something that you are open to, if you have any additional questions, please let me know. But we are excited to have you. Go to cadefoundation.org/grants for more information.
Thank you so much, Kristen. That was really informative, and the community's lucky to have both, all these organizations, and what a great story, bringing those 16-year-olds here. So let's see, our next speaker is Amanda Rice, who is the founder of Chick Mission. And before, Amanda, you get started, I really want to give you a shout out of a happy birthday. Thank you so much for sharing your special evening with us. We really appreciate that and your dedication to it. So welcome.
Thank you, Allison. No, it's my privilege. I am a cancer survivor, and every birthday means something very special to me and my family. And, I've dealt with infertility from a little bit of a different lens, having been diagnosed with breast cancer at age 37, then melanoma at age 38, and then breast cancer again at 39. And unfortunately, dealt with some really challenging times emotionally, physically, mentally, and came out of it just feeling very defeated about just these obstacles that don't need to be in our way as cancer patients or as women or men, as it relates to infertility. So, I really took the time when I was dealing with my third diagnosis, doing regular rounds of chemo, my mom by my side the whole time, who's a retired project manager, and we started thinking about what we can do to give back. And like Pamela mentioned, I was fortunate. I work on Wall Street and could afford to freeze my eggs, and had to go through 3 different rounds of egg freezing before I started chemotherapy. And it was about $60,000. And I just kept saying, I don't, that's a lot of money. And God forbid somebody else, another woman, is sitting in my seat and has to choose not to freeze her eggs because of the monetary burden and because insurance companies consider this elective. And I just couldn't get over the fact, I didn't elect to have a tumor or, a nipple that was bleeding, and ultimately life-saving treatment was going to leave me infertile. And so, brainstormed, came up with the name Chick Mission, read Nonprofits for Dummies. That's not, I have no idea how to run a nonprofit, but this was 2017. Just kept reaching out to the amazing, actually plenty of the panelists or the organizations that they represent. I reached out over social media, sent random emails, and they all took the time to really shepherd me and encourage me and just give me some great ideas. So we started originally in New York, where I, was living at the time, and helped a few women there. Slowly learned about, just the statistics about doctors not telling you about preserving your fertility because they assume you can't afford it, and then it's too late. And so that heartbreaking statistic of less than half of these patients understand what the risks are, really fueled our educational focus. And then, money raising to provide grants. And our grants are for women only. Women who have been diagnosed with cancer. We don't have an actual grant cycle because we need to act immediately. So when you're diagnosed with cancer, you have to rush into treatment. And, we have slowly built over time to work with fertility practices in 6 states, including Colorado. We're so thrilled to get involved in the advocacy efforts there. Advocacy is so important to change these laws.
Hey, Ayla, I'm on a Zoom
And
call.
ultimately, we reached a huge milestone in 2020, even though it was, the darkest of days for many. We reached 100 patient grants, and we have a very lofty goal in 2021 to provide 100 more. So we are rocking and rolling. I'm personally relocating to Texas to use my voice and my story to help influence some legislators there. And we're just going to keep fighting. And, ultimately the way you get in touch with us is through our Instagram. I answer all of, those messages, our website. You can kind of put in your stats where you live, and regardless if we work in that state or not, we're an all volunteer organization with some limited resources. But if you live in those 6 states, we're going to help you. If you're a woman with any type of cancer, and we have they're need-based grants. But if you're a woman who makes $150,000 or less, you qualify, and a married couple, $200,000 or less, or a partnered couple. So cannot wait to keep growing, keep spreading the word, and help anybody on this call. If anybody's diagnosed with cancer or their friends or family, and this is something they need to talk about, feel free to send them our way.
Thank you, Amanda. And thank you for sharing your personal story, and your passion is so obvious. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Our next speaker is Kelly Corey, who is the Regional Account Executive for Walgreens Specialty Pharmacy and Alliance RX Walgreens Prime. So welcome, Kelly.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you including me, and I can't wait to connect with everybody on this call. What I do for a living is I call on cancer centers and fertility centers and try to get their business to Walgreens. But what's happened is cancer's always been in my family, and it kind of became my own personal mission, because what I've seen, exactly what Amanda said, is we're seeing more and more women and men get diagnosed with cancer, and they're not talked to about their fertility before they're hit with chemo or radiation. So it's become my own personal mission to go into every single cancer center, get in front of every single person and tell them, you need to slow down. You need to talk to these patients, because it's their right to be able to make that decision. It's not their decision to make for the patient. So I've been on this mission for 8 years now, and I'm really proud because my company has partnered with Ferring Pharmaceuticals, and we provide free fertility medication for women with cancer. And if you go to walgreens.com/cancer, it has all the information you need, and walgreens.com/fertility, because there is another program called Reunite RX Onco Fertility. So Heartbeat is different. Heartbeat is free medication. There's no financial like paperwork or anything that you have to go through. You just have to have a cancer diagnosis. You can't have gone through chemo in the last 6 months, and you can't have any, unfortunately, you can't have any state or federal insurance. So Medicaid disqualifies, Medicare disqualifies, and TRICARE. However, thank you. Thank you, Amanda. So unfortunately, we can't help them, and it's because it's in partnership with Ferring Pharmaceuticals. So it is illegal for us to give free drug to any patient that has Medicaid, Medicare, or TRICARE. Reunite RX has free, they have a program where it's anywhere from 50% off to 100% off. You have to fill out some financial work. We've seen a lot of patients get 100% off on these medications. What we tell patients is try for everything. So anything that you can get, the better. So if it is a Medicaid patient and they don't qualify for our programs, I go into these cancer centers and I talk about all of your programs too. So I really want to, I've worked with the gals from Polite Tumor who are going to be on later, and they're phenomenal, but I talk about their program. I'll talk about any program you want me to, because I'm the one that's in the face of these oncologists and mid-levels and nurses and counselors and social workers. So this mission has been really personal to me. And then fast forward 5 years into the mission, I was diagnosed with cancer. I, however, am old, so I didn't want children, but it really got me in the face of these oncologists that I'm seeing now, and it's helped. So anything I can do to help, and if I can use my own personal story to help that, that's what I'm doing. So if anyone has questions, walgreens.com/fertility and walgreens.com/cancer. We have some really great programs in there. We do have a local fertility specialized site that is in Skyridge Medical Center. So we're really excited that they have a lot of these programs there, and they can fill all the fertility medications right then and there. It's wonderful. And then we deliver for free, and we give all the needles and syringes, everything that they'll need to go ahead and go through their cycle. So really excited. Thank you for having me. And I think my email will be on the program. So, but it's kelly.corey@walgreens.com. Please connect.
Great. Thank you so much, Kelly. Your mission, it's awesome, because you really are spreading the word. And I can't tell you how many patients are just looking for any help, especially with, all the medications they have to take. So thank you so much. And yes, as a reminder, I think everyone's contact information for all the speakers are on our website, coloradofertilityadvocates.org. So thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, our next speaker is Angela Williams, who is the president of Hope for Fertility Foundation.
Hi, I'm excited to be here and tell you about our organization. We are a national grant, so we do all across the nation, and we give grants up to $5,000 for anyone who is struggling with infertility costs or adoption costs. There are 3 qualifications to be eligible for our grant. They're pretty basic ones. You have to be a US citizen, legally married, and diagnosed with infertility by a doctor. We started this, I guess the foundation was started in 2016. I jumped on board as a volunteer probably in 2018, And then this year I took over as president of the organization, and I have just become so passionate about helping couples build their families. So far, we're kind of we're on the smaller side. We're growing. Every year we've been able to double the amount of grants that we have given away. So you can see our stats right there on the thing. But last year we were able to give 14 grants and $60,000. And this year it looks like we will be able to even double that. So we should be looking to give about $100,000 to $120,000 away this year. So that's been exciting for us. The application right now is open. It closes on May 1st, and then we will announce the grant recipients on July 1st. It's been tricky trying to figure out how to help all the couples who are, I know they go through treatments all year, and it's hard to kind of wait, but there's 5 of us on the board, and we're all volunteering our time to help with this foundation. So it's been so rewarding to help with those. We've got 16 babies born. You can find all of our information on our website. That's where you can apply for the grant. But yeah, we're excited to help more couples this year, and can't wait to see and read their stories. Oh, the last thing was, we have a grant committee. It's about 8 people. And they read through every single story and go through all of those things to decide. So it's not financially based or anything like that. We read stories and we connect with the couples and try to give to those who we feel really need that extra hope and that extra help to kind of get to the next step. So that's us. And if any questions, you're welcome to email me. My email address is just angela@hopeforfertility.org. So
Great. Thank you so much, Angela. And you might be small, but you sure are mighty. That is awesome to hear about your foundation and that it's growing and getting the word out. Thank you for all the work that you do.
yes.
Great.
You're welcome.
All right. Our next speaker is Alana Frank, who is the founder of Jewish Fertility Foundation. Welcome, Alana.
Why, thank you. Thanks for having me here. So we are an organization, like many of you here today. It is very personal for me. I have been married for 12 years. I struggle from infertility, and my journey actually started in Israel, where I was able to take advantage of socialized medicine to have my first 2 children, which means that essentially they cost me nothing. But that wasn't without all of the emotional stress, the heartache, the shame. My family back in America knew nothing about what was going on. Finally, when my husband got a job offer back in America, we came back here, and that was the first time I started talking about infertility and what I went through. And I remember sitting in the baby pool of a Jewish community center, talking with some friends, and we were talking about how much our babies cost. And unlike some of you, my background actually is in the nonprofit sector. And I was shocked by the mere cost of what fertility treatments were costing. And I initially was like, oh my God, we're all suffering from the same things. We had a hard time with our spouses. We were private about it. Just the roller coaster of emotions when things didn't work out, the losses. And I thought, wouldn't it be great to start an organization specifically in the Jewish community? Because like you all, there were other things out there, and there wasn't something I could find within the Jewish community. So we're very focused today. We started in 2015, and I wasn't done with my own journey at the same time, which was really, really hard. So we started in 2015, and I quickly understood it wasn't only about the money. We are a granting organization that is community-based, that started in Atlanta, Georgia. And equally as important for us, we offer emotional support and educational training. So we also offer community support groups and a fertility buddies program where we match up veterans of infertility with people going through it today. And we work in the community to train our leadership as well. So in 2015, we started in Atlanta. In 2019, we expanded to our second city in Cincinnati, Ohio. And within the next 5 years, we hope to be in 15 more locations. So unfortunately, we only work with people currently with inner cities. And we do offer $1,000 to $15,000 of grants. It is needs-based, as well as our doctors are looking at the medical viability of success. Again, currently we're a $750,000 organization, professionally run. And we do want to take all of that into account. We also partner with local interest-free loan associations to offer up to $7,500 in interest-free loans. We're not currently paying for surrogacy adoption or medications. So we kind of want to offset the costs with potentially interest-free loans. And every single one of the fertility clinics in the communities that we serve offer a 20% discounted rate off of the fertility treatment. So people can leave our offices with a chunk of money. We've given out in the past 5 years, 66 grants at $645,000. We have 50 babies. We have 27 babies on the way. And we are expanding. Denver is actually one of the cities right now that is working to put together an exploratory committee. So I know we're Colorado based, so I wanted to throw that out there. But if you have any questions, we are on a rolling basis in terms of our applications. We can get back to you within 1 to 4 weeks. And we're pretty speedy in that way, but you can find us at Jewish Fertility Foundation on all social media and jewishfertilityfoundation.org.
Great. Thank you so much. And
oh, wait, one more thing.
Sure.
This is my baby here in the blue. He was born via embryo donation. I am so passionate about this.
Yeah.
And love to match people up who have extra embryos with people currently searching for embryos. That's my little side project.
I love it. I love it. And as a psychologist who specializes in fertility counseling, I really appreciate your organization addressing the emotional aspect of it, because as everyone knows on this call, it's very difficult on so many levels. So thank you for the work you do. All right, our next speaker is Alyssa Brown, who is the CEO of Polite Tumor.
Hi, everyone. Can you see me? Okay, cool. Man, I don't know where to begin. I guess I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here. And I have connected with a lot of you personally, and it's exciting to see you over Zoom and not just over email. So thanks for having me. I'll start with my story and then get into our goal, and I'll try and keep it brief. I was diagnosed with breast cancer at 31, and I was a year into my marriage, wasn't even thinking about kids, and it came as a huge surprise to me. I was lucky to have a lot of people that supported me through cancer treatment and actually fundraised for me. And so I was able to really quickly harvest my eggs ahead of chemotherapy. It wasn't lost on me that other people don't have this type of support. And by the time I was done with cancer treatment, Polite Tumor was born. So that gets to our goal. So we're a Colorado nonprofit, and our goal is to provide financial support for every person in Colorado under the age of 40 that's been diagnosed with cancer. A lot of times our grants do go to fertility treatments, but they also go to other things like food and sending your kids to daycare or having a nanny or being able to pay your rent because you can't go back to work. We give $5,000 grants no matter what. And we're not a needs-based organization. We think that the need is really clear when you're under 40 and diagnosed with cancer. You probably don't have a strong income. You probably don't have a lot of savings. So yeah, you can see right here the need on the slide. Our goal is to raise $1 million. So that way we can help every person in Colorado that's under 40 diagnosed with breast cancer. And I think to me, the most alarming statistic here is that people under 40 pay over $20,000 when compared to their 40 plus counterparts. So cancer is super expensive for us, and it's really difficult. I think there's one more slide about how we give. If you flip forward. Nope. Okay, I'll just let you know. So we work with different providers in Colorado, all the way from the Front Range to the Western Slope. If you go on our website, politetumor.com, you can see who we're working with. And our providers refer grantees to us. So that way we're not sorting through applications. we're a team of 2. We don't take a salary, so we like to make the grant process really quickly, and we rely on social workers, oncologists, breast surgeons, plastic surgeons to do the vetting for us. We're really, I would say, keen to support everybody, regardless of income, race, gender, sexuality, et cetera. Like, we're open to everyone, and we work with our providers to make sure that there's no bias when we go through this process. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's I'm not sure what else to say. I'm trying to keep it brief, but if you guys have any questions, obviously, alyssa@politetumor.com, and I think my info is here. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Alyssa.
Mhm.
And I agree with what was mentioned earlier by our speaker, Amanda. I mean, nobody asked to have cancer. And certainly nobody asks or deserves to have infertility. And so it's great to know that from your pain comes this giving. So thank you again.
Of course.
All right, our final speaker, and I have to notice the time. We're doing great. So, Kara Edwards, who is the founder of Starfish Infertility Foundation.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here. Wow. You know, I have to say, I know about most of these organizations, obviously. I've read the stories, I've been on the websites, but to hear y'all speak, I mean, you guys are amazing, like seriously amazing. I am obviously a very small fish in this world. I am a one-man show when it comes to my foundation. It is pretty much just me. It is 100% volunteer, so all the money that comes in goes right back out. We are a 501c3, but you know, my story when we were going through it, I married and just thought children would come naturally, and it didn't. And so when we started treatment, I remember calling my insurance agent and saying, you know, how much of this is covered and what do I do next? And do I need a referral? And she said, we're not going to cover this. And I was stunned. I mean, why wouldn't insurance cover this? And I said, what do you mean you won't cover this? And she said, you don't need a child to live. And I said, wait, what? And she said, you don't need a child to survive. So there's really no basis for our insurance coverage. And I said, so let me get this straight. I can choose to smoke my entire life and you'll cover my lung cancer? And she said, yes, ma'am, we will. And I was stunned. I was floored. So we had done 4 IUIs. Going into my first round of IVF, I thought, we'll be one and done. This is the answer I needed, was IVF. And once we're out of this, I'm gonna, you know, we'll give back, we'll figure out what to do. Well, that turned into 4 years and 4 cycles and 3 clinics and just a very long road for us that I wasn't expecting. And so 2013, we were finally blessed with beautiful boy-girl twins, Bexley and Braxton, through a clinic in Colorado, CCRM. So they will always have a special place in my heart because they were able to, I guess, fulfill my dreams. So 2 years later, I was still thinking about this foundation I wanted to start and was overwhelmed. There was just so many people needing the help and so many people needing support. And I just thought, how can I do anything? How can I do enough? And I heard the story of the starfish. And if you haven't heard it, very briefly, it's an old man and a young boy walking down the beach, and it's covered in thousands of starfish. And every once in a while, the old man picks one up and throws one back in the ocean. And the little boy says, Grandpa, what are you doing? And he says, well, I'm saving starfish. And he said, well, you can't possibly save them all. And he picked one up and he throws one back and he says, no, but I saved that one and I made a difference to that one. And that was it. I thought, you're right. Even if it's one family I can help, that's what I needed to do. And so in 2015, we launched Starfish. We gave out our first grant in October, and they welcomed a beautiful baby boy that next year. And that was it for me. I spend everything that I can fostering the foundation. I speak anywhere I can speak. About 8 months ago, I joined the Tennessee Fertility Advocates. I'm here in Tennessee, and so I joined their advocacy group as their Nashville lead to fight for legislation and support through people, whether it's speaking to employers or, we've been on constant phone calls with legislators and senators and all of it. Colorado Fertility Advocates, you guys have been huge support, guidance for us. And so it's been an incredible year for us. 2020 started out rough. I actually became pregnant naturally, surprise, and I lost the baby. Which I had never gone through a miscarriage before. So it gave me a completely different perspective that I had never had. When going through my own journey, I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't know anybody going through it. No one spoke about it. And so it was very isolating. And I don't want anybody else to feel that way. So if you go on my website, if you go on our social media, if you go anywhere, the only phone number you find is my cell phone. I want people to have access to somebody that understands, that they can just pick up the phone and say, I'm struggling. I don't know what to do. I don't know what my first step is. Give me some guidance. That's almost as important to me as the money that we give out to help. So we have given out probably 15, 16 grants. We've got 10 babies. One baby is on the way now. There's really no qualifications. I do require that the clinics that are being used are registered through sart.org. I think they're it's a great place to vet different clinics. And so I do use that when looking through the applications. I have other people that help with those applications, read through them. But even so, I still to this day, I read every single application that comes in. I personally read it. I feel like if somebody is spending the time to put that application in, I really want to go through it myself. Obviously it's heartbreaking. You can't help everybody. A part of every single application takes you back to your own journey at some point. But it just keeps you fighting. It makes me want to fight with the advocacy group. There's no reason that this should continue the way that it is. So I'm very proud to do that. We don't really have a grant cycle. It's kind of as we have money come in, we open a grant, or as we partner with, a fertility clinic for a grant, we open it up and we send it right back out. So, but everything's on the website. We just closed a grant, or gave away a grant to NFC here in Nashville. We're probably opening another one here shortly, but it's super simple, starfishandfertilityfoundation.org. And like I said, my number's on there. My email address is on there. I do all the social media, everything. So, reach out if you need anything, just have questions or just want to talk. I'm here. So thanks for having me.
Great. Thank you, Kara, so much. And I couldn't agree more. Just helping one person really does make a difference. It does. And I really appreciate they can access you just directly. So thank you for the work you do. All right. So now if there are any questions, and seeing I'm not the host, I'm the moderator, I don't know what questions have come in, so, or if I can find them.
People can unmute themselves to ask a question if they'd like to. They can also type in the chat box and we can read it to you, Allison.
Okay, great.
I don't see any yet.
Okay.
If anyone, we do have one. To those foundations whose grants are based on having cancer diagnosis, does having benign cancerous cells qualify?
So I can answer for the Chick Mission. If your treatment plan includes fertility threatening treatment, then yes.
And for Walgreens, it just says you have to have a cancer diagnosis and not have gone through chemo in the last 6 months. So if you have a cancer diagnosis from your oncologist, that's what they need.
For polite tumor, it's having a breast cancer diagnosis. That's what makes you eligible.
I have a question regarding Walgreens. Is the reduced fees for fertility medications? I know you listed two different websites. I think, Kelly, I was writing them down really fast, but are they both only, can people only use them if you have been diagnosed with cancer, or is one for people without a cancer diagnosis?
So both Heartbeat and Reunite RX Onco Fertility they're both only for cancer diagnosis. However, they both have programs for veterans and for people that are just infertile as well. I mean, not with a cancer diagnosis, but are infertile. So they both have those programs, and you can go to reuniterx.com, and then you can go to heartbeatfertility.com, and they'll outline every single program that they have. And then if you do go to walgreens.com/fertility, we'll also have those programs listed.
And then is anybody who spoke today aware of other pharmaceutical companies that do offer discounts? Because, we always hear that. And I mean, I've been through IVF too. It's just such a huge chunk of money. And if your cycle doesn't work the first time, many people just don't have the resources to try again because, in big part because of that huge chunk of money for medications.
I don't know any others. I know my pharmacist is on. If she wants to speak up, if she knows any other fertility manufacturers that do offer. I think Merck is part of the Reunite program. But again, anytime that happens and a manufacturer is involved, they will not provide any free drug to anyone with a federal or state government supported insurance. So Medicaid, Medicare, and TRICARE.
Okay, thank you.
But they do, yeah. So they do have programs for veterans, and then they each have programs. And then most of the fertility sites in Colorado they also do like a discount program, which is wonderful. So Conception, CCRM, and Albrecht or Denver Fertility, they all have discounted programs too for cancer patients. So, and they see the patient within 24 hours. All the doctors there are great.
Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I'm noticing there are some questions on the group chat. I just wanted to announce them out loud for the recording. But one of which was, if you apply for a grant and do not receive it, are you ineligible to apply to a different grant? And it looks like all the organizations more or less are saying, no, you can apply. You're eligible to apply to each organization, even if you tried somewhere else and were found to be ineligible. I also have a comment. I have a surrogacy agency in Texas, which programs are available to parents in any state. So Hope for Fertility is a national grant. Most of the Starfish grants are national. Cade Foundation grants are available across the entire US.
Excuse me, Allison.
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify for that previous question,
Okay.
whether you were eligible for another grant or not, we still allow you to, you can receive multiple. So it's not only if you are ineligible for one, then apply for the other.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for that. Let's see. Chick Mission is a rolling approval. Chick Mission grants are provided to those living in New York, New Jersey, California, Colorado, Illinois, and Texas. Any other questions?
It's Dr. O'Shaughnessy. I just have a question for Cara. You had mentioned that you only provide your grants to centers or patients who go to centers that are under SART. So my question to you is why? We are one of the top fertility centers in the nation, and we do not apply to SART for various reasons. And I think that that's going to be the case with many others because they have done some certain things that have made it more difficult to stick with them. So that's my question.
No, I appreciate the question. I completely understand. You know, coming from somebody I'm just a normal, I'm just a wife trying to get pregnant. I don't know all facets and all sides of the medical community and the reporting conditions here and there. What I do know is every single dollar that's donated to me, I have to do my best to make sure that those funds are used in an appropriate manner. I'm very, I'm just very protective of that money. And so to me, it's a place that I can go and research a clinic, because I can go to any clinic's website and they're going to say they're the best and they're this and they're that. But to me, I can actually go and I can look at stats and I can compare them to the national average. Now, not to say, I have had a few people that have said, my clinic is not registered with SART and my physician has said X, Y, and Z. Great. I've gone to them and said, can you provide me with this? And they do. So it's not a clear-cut black and white, but we have clinics here in Nashville. I went to one and if I ever gave my money to them, I did. I would never want to give somebody else's money to them. And so it's, without getting too into it, I'm trying to be a good steward of the money that people entrust me with, is what it is.
Yeah, I think that the other very good source is the CDC, which also carries, pregnancy rates and are basically who SART has to report to as well. So that's who we report to, and we don't have the restrictions that make things a little bit difficult with SART. So
yeah, no, I completely understand that. And I appreciate you sharing that, because I have had some people say I can't, and usually they'll call and say, I can't find my clinic on SART. And so if I can't find it, then I'll still dig further into it.
Thank you. That was a great question. Thank you. Thanks, Kara. All right, I'm seeing another question. My health insurance covers 80% infertility treatments. How are grants distributed? Some organizations explained it, but if I only need certain amounts to cover a portion of cost, do I submit with the application's uncovered portions of the cost?
Allison, I'm happy to address that. And there's something else as well. Yeah. Sure. We generally look for people who do not have insurance that covers infertility. Right now, there are so many people who don't have any coverage that to find somebody who's fortunate enough to have 80% coverage, we do ask that question on the application. What portion of the clinic fees are covered? What portion of the medications are covered? And to answer a question, just something else that I was on mute that that you were discussing a few minutes ago, applying for multiple grants. Obviously, people apply for multiple grants. Our grants are complete. If somebody needs $9,000, they get $9,000 if they are very, very, very close to it. So we do not allow people to combine grants. They can apply for 100 of them, but if they're selected for a Baby Quest grant, they will get all the money that they need for both, pretty much for clinics, PGD testing, and medications. So we do not have them allow them to combine grants if they're receiving it.
Thank you, Pamela. I don't know if others want to answer.
Yeah, I'm happy to comment for the Chick Mission. We work directly with fertility practices. So when a patient goes in, they help them fill out the application, they submit it to us. We always ask for their current insurance information because we want to keep track of what's going on within every state and all the different bills and laws that are changing. There have been 10 laws that have changed as it relates to fertility preservation for cancer patients in the last 3 years, including Colorado, which is not in effect quite yet, but we want our dollars to go as far as possible. So we always tell the practice up front, we are approving a full grant. We actually mandate that they try to get a little bit of coverage through insurance because we want our dollars to help even more patients. So if labs or monitoring or even anesthesia is covered, we'll take it. So they know upfront how much is covered. We do a full egg-free cycle. Every fertility practice is different with what they charge. And, if more is covered by insurance, hooray. So that's how we do ours.
Great, thank you. If anyone else wants to answer that.
Well, we encourage people to apply for multiple grants because one might not work and the other might, and they may get the free meds from us, but they still need money for the actual procedure. And so we always say, apply for both these grants that we offer and then apply for everything else that's out there.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and Kelly, we send everybody to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Hi, I'm Laura, the local pharmacist there at Skyridge and our fertility site. So thank you as well for sending patients to us. We really appreciate it. I do have a question for Dr. O'Shaughnessy, if I may. What type of discounts does Conceptions provide to patients that are diagnosed with cancer?
I wish I could answer that question. I don't have, I generally do not discuss any financial anything. So I can't give you exact numbers. I know it's a sizable discount.
Yeah.
I wish it was free, to be honest with you. I worked in a clinic in New York where anybody with cancer, free care. And then we obviously got meds from programs like Livestrong, which obviously is through Kelly's organization. So it is a substantial discount, but it's still a significant amount of money. So.
Well, that's good to know. I didn't realize that. So thank you. And at Walgreens, we provide, certainly bill the insurance where we can. And we're finding more and more insurance companies are paying for fertility and discount cards, our Reunite program, Fairing program, etc. So whatever we can do to get that cost as low as we can for any fertility patient, of course, and especially our oncology patients. So thank you.
Thank you, Laura. And another question on the group chat is, do you pay directly to the clinic if you have received a grant? And it looks like the majority of foundations and organizations do, but you're welcome to speak for your organization if that's not the case. Great. Okay, any other questions?
There is one that just popped up about embryo transfers. And I just want to say the Hope for Fertility covers anything to do with infertility. So we do gestational carriers, we do embryo transfers, we do IUIs, we do anything. If it has to do with infertility, we could give you a grant for that. So just to answer that question.
Thank you so much. Yes, I see the question. Will some of the grants cover embryo transfers, or do they typically go to those who are just starting the IVF process? So, yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I personally want to thank all of the panelists and for really educating all of us and spending your time with our event. We appreciate it. And remember, this is being recorded, so you can always refer back to it or, inform others. And I want to thank all of my other fellow board members who helped to make this a success. And Thank you for your time and have a great evening.
Thank you, Allison.
Great.
Thanks, Allison. Great job.
Thank you.